Before I start the show, there's a Jeff Keenan Memorial Baked Salmon Bank Slalom at Mount Seymour on April 13th from noon to 4 p.m., followed by a tailgate in the parking lot. Reservations are needed before 1:30. After that, any pass or lift ticket will get you up the mystery chair to the dark run for the event. Celebrate Jeff with the community April 13th at Mount Seymour. FNRad is presented by Flojoy water, which is purified by granite rocks. Flojoy, a true gift of nature, and Chris Roach. And Essential Toothpaste Tablets, travel-ready, eco-friendly toothpaste your taste buds will enjoy. Wired Snowboards factory in Vancouver builds high-quality custom snowboards for about the same price as other brands' regular boards. I've created several one-of-a-kind wired customs, including a Chase 162 that's seen hundreds of my best powder days. Get yourself a game-changing snowboard and join the Wired team with Devin Walsh, Sasha Daly, and many others. Wired Snowboards. For more information, go to wiredsnowboards.com. Fixed bindings are FNRad. The comfort, performance, and quality of fixed bindings stokes me out every time I snowboard. Their commitment to making bindings that work amazingly and give you no issues puts Fix ahead of other binding brands. It's just that simple. Buy Fix bindings at an authorized dealer or go to fixbindingco.com. Bluebird Coffee Tuning and Rentals in Squamish is the coolest new stop on your way to Whistler. Bluebird offers quality board tunes using state-of-the-art equipment, premium rentals for every level of rider with demos of Burton step-ons, and award-winning coffee and incredible smoothies. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and lots of charm, stop by Bluebird in Squamish and get your board tuned at the newest mandatory stop on your way to Whistler. Anon snow goggles enhance and protect your vision with unmatched optical clarity. Anon's Magnatech quick lens change technology allows you to swap lenses with ease. All Anon goggles are engineered to deliver no fog days and pair perfectly with Anon helmets and MFI magnetic face masks. Get yourself the best goggles at an authorized Anon dealer near you. Support also comes from our friends at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop. Check out boardroomshop.com and use code FNRAD10 for 10% off regular priced items and FNRAD5 for 5% off sale items. 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scof. FNRad 20 saves you 20% off at 1910.com. New Greens, the superfood green drink sourced from American farms. Use code FNRAD for 20% off at newgreens.com. I want to thank DeKind Snowboard outerwear, travel bags, and backpacks, Rip Curl's Anti-Series outerwear, and our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their support. Todd Kohlman, or TK. What can I say about TK? He's one of the rarest gems in snowboarding. It feels fitting to be recording this intro on April Fool's Day because it's Craig Kelly's birthday, and Todd works at Craig's prototype facility, a 10,000 square foot building that houses the best of Burton's high-end custom-built snowboard manufacturing machinery and the archives. Todd's a curator of sorts, hosting tours of Craig's and cataloging and managing the archives. Many of us snowboard nerds have reached out when we want to know a year of a specific Burton product or some obscure fact like how many pro models has Burton ever produced. Todd isn't just a wealth of knowledge, he's a true snowboarder and an effing rad human being. Stoked to bring you this interview from Todd's recent visit to Whistler. We start by talking about how he's been to BC 3 times in the last 20 years.
Yeah. First time, 1996 at Blackcomb with the Craig Kelly snowboard camp.
Oh my God, awesome.
And then 2012, I believe, just to come out for some stuff too.
Yeah, was it work related, 2012?
Yeah. Just came to, I think it was basically to check out Showcase and stuff.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were just at a Showcase event, Retro Trunk Show.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Good turnout.
Great turnout. It was really fun to see a lot of people there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Graham Turner in 20 years or something.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really cool, the different variety of boards that showed up.
Yeah, and some really eclectic pieces, like the little Jason Brown Hawk doll in the package.
Yeah.
What was the display with all the team riders?
Oh, that was a POP piece from, probably like 14 or 13, somewhere around there.
So for the listeners who don't know, and you probably all do, Todd runs the archives at Burton, and I mean, I think you might have my favorite job in the entire world.
Thanks. I feel so lucky. It's an honor. I just love the history of snowboarding and just love riding,
Yeah, me too. So here you are out because your home mountain is Stratton? Stowe.
Yep.
Yeah. About an hour from where you live?
Yep, exactly. I live in just outside of Burlington, Vermont.
So sick.
Yeah.
So coming out west,
yeah.
How was the snow today?
Oh, it was great. I mean, visibility was a little tricky, but gosh, it's just so long, the runs.
Does it kill your legs like it kills my legs?
It does. I'm like, we're still riding the same run.
I actually counted like 7 Seymours. I was like, okay, that was a Seymour.
Yeah.
Okay, that was another Seymour.
Yeah, totally.
That was another Seymour. We're still going. Like it's huge. It's huge.
Especially compared to Wisconsin, where I grew up. It's definitely,
Yeah, I would imagine Stowe is huge compared to Wisconsin.
It's like 100 times, more.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So would you guys have POP in the archives as well?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh my God, that's impossible to believe.
Yeah, POP, socks, hats, beanies, gloves, goggles, of course, outerwear, and
every color of
not every color of. Well, we do every color of helmets and bindings.
Yeah.
But we used to do every color of boards and stuff, but now we just do one size, and there's usually like one colorway. These days.
You're looking at the future, going like, this is gonna be so much stuff. Soon.
Yeah,
it already is a lot.
It's kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark in there. You picture that scene at the end of the movie where they're wheeling the Ark or whatever in there. It's just like a sea of boxes of all kinds of stuff. And everything's got a story.
Yeah. I mean, you could spend an entire lifetime in there just going through boxes and finding stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite pieces in there?
Oh, definitely like Jake's protos. Each one is different. And just to see the passion that to create 100 boards before you settle on one for production, is like, just kind of shows you his passion, and then the Craig Kelly, that proto that he rode from when he came over from Sims to Burton, aqua top sheet and a red base. We actually just showed that at Homesick, so that was cool.
I saw that in my feed, and I zoomed in. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like the sticker placement.
Yep, the Croakley's.
Yeah, man.
And then an unusual one, Brushy's dreads.
That's awesome.
Yeah, his mom saved him.
I love that. Yeah, so sick. Mm-hmm. So you told me today, I hadn't thought about it, but like 1977 is 50 years from like 2 years from now.
Exactly. Winter 27 is going to be the 50-year anniversary, and I'm also turning 50 that year, so
that's
going to be a big party that year.
Yeah. It would be super sick to see, like I said, a traveling
that would be amazing.
Archive of Burton history.
Yeah.
City to city or wherever.
Yeah.
Vail at the Snow Sports Museum or something.
That would be great.
Or
would be great.
At Vancouver. Well, it'd just be nice to see you again, go for a shred with you. But
exactly.
Is that something, Evan was telling me that you've actually been moved from the parts department to like the marketing department.
Yeah,
so that could be
actually, Yeah.
Could be a budget.
Just last week, actually.
Wow. Congrats.
So, thanks. Yeah. Just think it will just be closer to the 50-year anniversary and just what's going on and stuff, and see how I can help.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And you've been a Burton employee since when?
October 7th of 2002. So 22 and a half years.
Man.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot of things go down.
I feel like I kind of grew up there.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
It's home for me.
Yeah. How did you get the job in the first place?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to the Craig Kelly camp back here in 1996. I got to meet Kelly Jo, Craig's ex-wife. And so I have kept in touch with her all these years. She's kind of like a second mom, you know. She's just a great person, great personality. And then I just always wanted to work at Burton. And I was like trying to get in for like a year, and it wasn't working. And because I was in Wisconsin, and I was like, I'll do anything, you know, I'll sweep the floors, you know. And that's when I reached out to Kelly Jo, and she talked to JG, and he put a good word in for me. And fortunately, I was hired as like just customer service, like temp, like not full time.
We'll try him out.
Yeah. So it was, a dream come true. It's awesome.
So sick. Yeah. And you couldn't have even imagined the job that you have now because it didn't exist.
Right. It Emmett Manning, who used to work at Burton, he used to save the stuff. He was like in charge of the store, and he would save the stuff. And it wasn't like a full-time position because, well, it just didn't exist yet. And I felt lucky I was at the front desk, and my boss, JT, at the time said, Jake brought up your name to work in archives. And I was like, I didn't even know archives existed, you know. And I think Jake kind of knew I was a snowboard geek. You know, we used to talk a lot at the front desk about, like Craig and Terrier and Brushy and Shannon and all the legends, and just always about riding, like at Stowe, you know, like, what board did you ride, or how many days do you have right now? And I used to, between you and me and everyone, that I used to just say a little bit less days than Jake had. Like if I say I had 80 days and he had 79, I would say, well, I think I got like 76 or something. You know? Never wanted to have more than Jake.
That's amazing.
You know, I just owe everything to Jake and Donna, and I just feel lucky.
That's cool. Yeah. So Jake's personality is notoriously competitive.
Yes.
No matter what he's doing.
Yes.
If he was playing ping pong against you, he's going to try and beat you.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
But then you can kind of have that in your back pocket, like, 81 days. You know? Without being the competitive guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's
exactly.
cool.
Exactly.
What a cool job. And what's like a day to day for you?
Yeah, it's everything from driving the forklift to giving tours.
Yep.
I give tours at the Craig Kelly prototype facility Monday through Friday at 2:00.
Yep.
And you can sign up online or just swing by. And what else? Checking in the goods that we save. So it's kind of like, in a way, like I'm a store, you know. I order every year the product, and especially want to get the limited stuff, you know, which is always challenging. I'm always trying to be like on top of all that, you know, because sometimes you'll get like, this is a Japan only board, and I have to make sure I get that and stuff. So, so organizing the warehouse, different history projects, like Homesick, like pulling together some boards for that to exist.
That was so sick. Yeah.
Gary and Barry did a great job with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember if this is their third year.
Yep, third.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's their third. Yeah.
I spoke to one of them last year right after it, and just like the aspirations that they have for it. Looks like they reached, a nice goal this year with the number of people that attended.
Yeah.
And the caliber of the events that they were able to put on.
Yeah.
It seems like a really cool, happening.
Yeah.
I gotta go for sure. I'll definitely.
Oh, you
go.
would love it because all the legends come, and it's cool. And we do a mini pipe. They do so. It's cool to see that.
I saw some Shannon Dave doubles footage.
Yeah,
which
and
is
Todd
so
Richards
dope.
and
Todd was killing it.
Yeah, Ian Spiro was there. Blair was there. Scott Leonard. So a lot of Burton legends.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, I like sometimes someone will ask me a real specific question, like how many pro models has Burton had? And then I'll text it to you.
Yeah.
And then a few hours later, or a few minutes later, depending on what your day looks like.
Yeah. That was a good question.
That's a cool question to know because like there have not been as many as I would have thought.
Yeah.
It's a pretty exclusive club.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And some guys have multiples, like years after, like UC had
a ton.
A ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Rippey had a ton.
Yep.
I think Sean might have had the most.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was there for a really long time.
Yeah.
And for the listeners that hear the random clicks and thumps in the background, Ken is like a kid in a candy store right now. He just got the triple BOA step-ons for next year. Is that what they are?
Yeah. They actually came out this year.
They did with the triples.
February.
Oh, a late release.
Yep.
A late release when you can get that stuff out there.
Yeah.
I'll shut up in a minute.
No, don't worry. You're fine.
It reminds me of how many Christmases I've gotten something that I love.
Yeah.
And then, you're putting on boots.
Exactly.
You're trying them on. Okay. You're seeing what they look like with this outfit, with that outfit. I still do that when I get new clothes.
Yeah.
My wife will laugh at me because I'm putting stuff on in the living room.
Oh, totally.
How does this look with these pants? I should put the boots on. I think I have a pair of gloves that go with this. Yeah.
That's right.
So you guys have outerwear as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of it.
Yep. There's a couple here and there, but believe it or not, we didn't have the Mandalore original one from 2003, the Jeff Anderson.
Oh wow!
But my friend Brandon Parrish, he just got one, an original, so we can probably borrow it from him.
That's super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know where the holes are, if there are any.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, how many SKUs just ballpark are there every year?
For boards, like now there's like 200 probably I get, but it used to be like 400 or so.
Jeez.
Like there'd be 4 board coffins, but the soft good racks, like I think this year I was able to get most on one rack, but other years there's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's like a salesman sample, like what you would see at a showing where it's just like all these pieces.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine, like, if it was displayed in one place, it would be bigger than any snowboard specific store.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. We do you know, what is his name? Billy in China. He's got this ceiling full of Burton boards and stuff. It's a really cool collection. I was thinking someday we should do something like that too. It was good inspiration from him. Like, do like archives could be just the sea of a wall full of the boards, or something.
That would be incredible.
It'd be fun.
It would be really like awe-inspiring.
Yeah, at Craig's we have a museum, but we were really, it's hard because the building's only so big. So it goes to 07 right now. And so we need to grow that, I think. And
sure.
Get
there's a lot of selected pieces in there.
It's really
with the
cool.
write-up and the cool history.
We just got from Steve Harris, The Circle, Craig Kelly's 1998 Viking boots, and we added
wow.
that. And,
Sick.
And we also recently got Scott Lennart, who did more Burton graphics than anyone. Artist from Southern Vermont. He gave us, we purchased a diorama that we put in there. That's really cool. And
Nice.
yeah, so some new additions since you've been there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
How fun. That's just unbelievably fun.
Yeah.
So over the years, how has your personal riding style changed? Are you doing the same thing that I'm doing and becoming like an older, more turny guy on the snow?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When I was young, I tried to do more of the park scene and all that, but I still like going through the park like today. But
especially when you're rolling with like Mikey Cicerelli
and
like
it was insane, Mickle and
Mark.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I don't hit the big stuff at all anymore, but I try to keep up with them, but it's tough.
Yeah. That was a crew.
It was really a treat. Mikey Cicerelli and I took 3 runs down Crystal yesterday, and it was just like seeing him hit these side hits so high up, like he slashed them, and it kind of reminded me of Craig a little bit, just the style. So that's rad. That was really sick.
Yeah, he's a very soulful young guy.
Yeah.
He's got like I saw him in the pipe hike a couple of times just for a hit.
Yeah.
3 times I saw, and each time I was like, whoa, that's like a magnitude smoother than what was going on with everybody else.
Exactly.
He just he's at the top of his game right now, which is really incredible to see in real life.
Yeah.
And just the nicest dude.
Oh, super nice.
It seems like the Burton team right now is just stacked with nice people.
Yeah.
It's like a prerequisite of the team or something.
I just was thinking about Zeb and stuff, and like he takes the time for the kids, well, they all do, and it's really important because like it makes me think of like when I was a kid and I met Craig in '93 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and like just he took the time for me and what that meant to me for the rest of my life.
Change your life.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of the marketing at that time, like, and it did hook a lot of us for life. Yeah, like going to camp. And meeting people that ripped that you'd seen in movies and magazines. It just was like, okay, I want to do this. I'm a part of this. I want to be a part of this.
I think that's really special about snowboarding is you can still like meet these people at the resorts, and like see they're really gifted people, but they're also just humans too, and like I think you feel more part of snowboarding, like the community. It's about the community, and we ride together,
Yeah. I was talking about that this week with, actually, I think I was talking about it last week with Mark Solers on the trip. I was like, if you're riding with someone in your crew and they did a trick, you feel like our crew did the trick. Like we're riding with this guy.
Exactly.
Check out our guys. Effort. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So it must be nice to be out here riding Blackcomb and
it's a
getting to ride with some of the most amazing people in the world.
It's cool.
Yeah. It feels like to me that the Burton experience that I had going to Burlington. Even checking out the shop downtown, like there's a sense of pride in the whole city that, the Burton factory is here. Yeah. A lot of people work for Burton.
For sure. We still make boards in Vermont. I think a lot of people don't realize that. And I also think sometimes people think Burton is like this big corporate company, but if you come and visit, you'll see it's more like a family, and Donna and her 3 sons, and it's a special place. It's soulful, and snowboarding is at the heart.
Yeah, the love of snowboarding is there. Yeah. When I showed up, it did really melt my. Like I had a bit of crustiness towards Burton.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's look and see how much snowboarding is really And then there was a skate park out front and a chairlift.
Yeah.
It was like, and then passionate people building snowboards inside, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It was really cool to see the level of intricacy that the boards have. It's like, oh wow, if the only thing you do is snowboards, you can put a lot of effort in and you can do it really, really well. Yeah. It's pretty sick to see.
Yeah.
Like, just inspiring. Yeah. Super
You're
fun.
goddamn right.
I love it, man. I love it. So now that you're under the marketing department, is your brain churning for like projects that you have been, thinking about for a long time that now you can maybe make a reality?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some feedback and stuff that maybe there's ways we can share the history more and whatnot. So yeah, you never know what'll come.
Right. I like what you started with the photos from the old mags. Yeah. Like, you've been posting a photo. Yeah. Is it weekly or every day?
I usually do it every day.
It's every single day. Another Burton.
Yeah, I enjoy doing the ads lately.
You're going to run out of things, can't you? That's 300 a year.
I know. Yeah. I should probably slow it down.
What a day. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. I love seeing the old ads.
Me too.
Because it really captures that moment in time, and you feel all the stories, the personality of the riders, and just that snowboarding's like, it's a special thing. Like, I love the little the edginess of it too. It's not just like, nothing against like football or basketball, but it's like it's a tribe. It's a special thing.
Yeah, there's something about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. Like that when I caught the bug for snowboarding. Yeah. Sure, the people around me were like, they got on the high school basketball team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they're not still playing basketball every day.
No,
you know what I mean?
Something you can do your whole life.
Yeah.
And now that I'm getting older, like, a lot of my friends have kids, and I'm like riding with like my friend Colin Alger's family and Mark Yates's family. And it's really cool to like see their like learning new tricks every day, and like they're now like trying to keep up with that generation is fun. It's a different snowboarding is kind of taken on a different thing for me that way.
Yeah, when I came up here to Whistler today, and I'm looking at the people that are here, and it gave me like a deep core memory of like 93, 94 when I first moved out here. Yeah. And
which are my favorite years of snowboarding, by the way.
Yeah, mine too. Actually, if I ever do a reference, it's going to be 93, 94. Yeah. What? Anyways, I'll finish my thought.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Don't be. People look different now, and it's a completely different section of the population. Like, it really was a youthful, rebellious. Whistler was just full of derelicts and like party people, and like it was popping off. And more than that, the personalities, like people were expressing themselves with crazy clothes. Yeah. We were talking about jester hats, or like, at one point I wore like the sleeve of a coat that was just cut off just on my head, like insane stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk 93, 94. Yeah. So if I'm thinking my Burton knowledge starts to fall off at 93, 94. Yeah. But the Rippy boards from that year for 93.
96, first Rippy Pro model.
Oh, it was 96.
But 93 was a special year for Burton because it was a lot of heavy technology happened. Like the 3-hole pattern started that year.
Right.
And so like the catalog was titled Science.
Nice.
Yeah, Victoria Jalouse was on the cover.
I remember it.
And it was... just this little book, but it had like test tubes and stuff in it, and like it was just so creative, you know. In '94, it was like a newspaper. It opened up and it had Craig on the cover.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
What year of Craig board is that?
The '94 one.
Yeah.
What did the graphic look like?
Yeah.
So it was like Dante's Inferno on the top, like black with this drawing, and then the base had this barbed wire with
yes.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really specific time. Yeah.
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 Those that it was easy. It was very easy then to pick your favorite because there was only so many people.
Right.
It was a pretty tight
I
group.
remember '92 being like day glow and bright colors, and then '93 came along and it got dark kind of.
Earth tones.
Yeah. I kind of like that.
Burnt orange. I remember it was like burnt orange was like the color you wanted that year.
Yeah.
And then it even got more earthy the year after, like taupe was like it, you know.
Yeah. Totally.
Like skin colored pants. You know, you really had to nail it. You couldn't be off by a shade on your stuff.
BioLite was really popular because like the team rode that, and it was really affordable stuff that was real stylish. It was like Brushy would run it, and like
I remember. I remember the ad for BioLite with Brush. Oh yeah, what a time! Like such a stacked team too. Yeah. Well, Burton was really, I mean, super dominant at that point.
Yeah.
It was like a big deal to have Burton in your shop. '93 is when I moved to Vancouver, and that's the reason it fell off, because I was working at a shop that didn't carry Burton.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I had to be like, you know, people come in, ask for Burton, and we'd have to like be like, well, why do you want a Burton?
Yeah.
Because which one do you want? That was always the trick.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a specific board they were looking for, we'd be like, okay, well, we've got something that's like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
They make great boards, but there's lots of other guys out there.
Yeah.
So but Burton, the 3D pattern. When does the slider
the channel
happen?
Yeah, the channel happens as a late model in 200007 with the Jeremy Jones.
I can't believe I've got like a walking encyclopedia here.
I'm just a dork with
me too. I love it. Yeah, that's cool because Jeremy Jones came over from Rev, and Rev had done the dual slider thing.
Yep.
Oh wait, no. After Rev.
And then
Forum. Yeah. And then for a while, Burton had Forum.
Right.
For a long while.
Right.
Until
we did the 2X hole pattern too with Unink.
Yeah.
And then went to the channel after that. And
what was the 2X hole pattern? It was just like a baseless thing?
No, it still had a disc. It just was like a 2-hole disc and
small disc.
So it would be like a single line down of inserts. Versus the 3D.
Yeah, and that worked.
Yeah.
So then
we went to the channel.
You knew the channel would work because you could just do the 2 bolts.
Yeah.
And it was good to go.
Yeah, my understanding is we didn't like take it from Forum or anything. It was just like headed that way with the riders with the 2X towards the channel.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, so things just kind of converge. Yeah. I don't think Forum even took it from Rev. Rev went out of business.
Right.
And then the Forum guys were like, hey, put the sliders on these.
Yep.
Because it's a nice, smooth, even flex.
Yeah, and you get more stance options. And
way more. It's infinite.
This is like tech talk, but I like the EST, the base plate getting more like board feel under your foot and stuff too. But
I tried them for the first time on the catboarding trip I went on with Mark and everyone. Yeah. And they work. They fit. I think my boots fit better in the bindings that I have.
Yeah.
Like my fixed bindings worked. Yeah. It was kind of like, I was like, yes, fix.
Yeah.
You did all right, man. Like Burton's the big dog out there. I'm trying a Cartel X and I'm like, are these going to just blow these guys out of the water? But I like my fixed bindings. Nice. But I mean, the Burton line is so vast.
There's something for everyone.
I'm sure there's something in there. I was telling my Burton buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They didn't quite. They were kind of narrow on my boots. He's like, you got Vans, right? And I'm like, yep. Yeah, big wide Vans.
Yeah.
And they were kind of pinched in there a little bit. So, but it's rad to see that all these years later, Ken trying on the boots here and being so excited.
Circle. It's been a real honor to meet Ken Achenbach.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like he's had ideas since the 80s.
Absolutely.
That, Jake would implement. I think he was talking.
Boot he talked about earlier.
That's right.
Yeah. He was hiking with Jake and he had the idea and Jake jotted it down, and 2 years later, it was in the line.
It's unbelievable. That's another thing that people don't realize. It takes time for like if you want something to happen. And you come up with
Step-on was probably 8 years or so, before it happened.
Before it really popped off. Yeah.
I mean, developing it.
Yeah. Was it not out to the general public? Like I remember riding with Dave, and he had it a few years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't for a while.
They were still refining it and making sure that by the time it goes out, it's ready to
dialed.
roll.
They've tested that probably more than that I know of, more than anything we've ever done. Probably.
Well, the first Step On wasn't called Step On; it was Step In.
Right.
And it was a similar design, was it not? Was it the 3 points? Same?
No, it was just on the sides of the boot. Would snap in, and so you actually had just
you
the side.
Didn't have the thing that they have at the back now.
The heel cleat. No,
they didn't have a heel cleat.
No, it didn't.
How did it stay in?
Just like these metal clips
just
on the side.
Jammed in at the sides.
It was on the two sides.
Clip. Oh so they would flip
in.
I've ridden it. Yeah, and you had to flip both to get out.
Exactly. So this one is a lot more responsive, with that heel cleat in the back, and it's just cool that, like Ken said earlier, Jake had this vision. People would be like, "Oh no, Step On, it's not coming back," but Jake was like, "We're gonna make this happen," and it's really making some waves out there. I think it's here to stay.
I think so. Yeah, it looks like,
and
I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it at Cypress when I'm up there.
Yeah.
I'm like, there are a lot of people that are riding those. Yeah.
But it's personal preference too,
Yeah.
I still like straps,
Me too. I'm a strap guy.
But yeah.
And then I'll race the Step On guys. They're going to beat me for sure.
Oh yeah.
But then it's not all about the quickness. It's actually a completely different feel.
Right.
Because you're pulling up on it as opposed to pulling against straps.
Exactly.
And so I think this triple boa thing that they've got that locks the front of your foot down as well.
Right.
Just makes sense that it's going to work.
Boots haven't really changed in probably 20 years, but then now this new Wave Range Pro with the kind of like a rider adjusting flex on holding your foot down more, getting less heel lift is really a cool thing.
Yeah. See, people have talked to me about what, how I can monetize the show, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of engagement happens around product testing.
Yeah.
And reviews.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the reviews I see are, I don't know if they're biased.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I don't watch reviews is what it comes down to. But I think chatting about it, nerding out, I could do that all day, every day. You know what I mean? I've always loved learning the technical makeup of a board. Like seeing at Craig's the way that the cores were put together. I was like, that's unique to Burton. There's nobody making their cores like a jigsaw puzzle.
Right.
And you could see that there was engineering.
The EGD, running the grains in the opposite direction and stuff.
It's so neat.
Yeah, the cores, so much goes into that,
Yeah.
And then if a rider wants it 20% stiffer, we can make the core thicker, and with the fiberglass, that's going to help give it more, make it a stiffer board.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Mikey Cicerelli, he was saying he feels lucky that, they can get custom boards, Like, I don't know if other companies are doing that for their riders.
I think it's a lot. I mean, especially if you are getting a factory to make your boards for you, probably you can't do one-offs for your guys.
Right. And those guys are riding insane stuff. So like that, like the boards they usually get out of Craig's, like you and I wouldn't have too much fun on probably, because they're insanely stiff or whatnot.
Yeah, because they ride so fast.
Yeah, and they go so big.
Yeah,
so.
and they go so big, right?
Yeah.
I remember hearing probably from JG when I was just talking with him that Sean White's boards were essentially the same.
Yeah,
for him.
We have the mold in archives.
Yeah,
like
one mold.
Yeah.
And it would they'd make him the exact board. Mm-hmm. Because you can't change it.
Right. And he had his same stance set. So like you couldn't change the stance on the board. It was just a set stance. So that's pretty awesome.
That's super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bit of a social media. Actually, I don't know if it was in social media. Maybe it was just in conversations. I think Ben Bullock brought it up that, he likes to ride the same board for everything.
Yeah.
Because then you're not getting used to a different board, right? Like you're riding the board you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although like it is fun to like try different boards.
I'm the quiver guy.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to make a freestyle board that's perfect in POW. Like those POW boards with like a full swallowtail long nose.
Yeah.
You ride differently. It's like a different thing.
Have you ever ridden a fish before?
Yeah. The first year that fish came out, I was like, that is my jam.
Yeah, I think it really kind of changed the industry for a little bit there, like creating this quiver board.
Right.
That I think it switched things up.
Well, there was guys like Tom Bird who's like, okay, long nose and taper, that's all I ever ride, right? Like he's like, I'm not riding a popsicle stick.
Yeah.
You're not reinventing anything, but I think the industry needed to give itself permission to like have more than one style of board.
I agree.
Like not everything should be a twin.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
And so now I just rode the Alakazam.
Oh yeah, how did you like that?
Oh, I loved it. It was great. It was really, really fun.
Yeah.
It was a perfect board for riding powder.
That's awesome.
And then we rode groomers at Fernie the next day, and I was like, it's kind of it is a bit of a quiver killer. Like if I had to buy just one board, I think that style of board.
Solema's board.
Yeah, a bit of taper, great floating powder, easy to put into the back seat.
Yeah.
And then I think for the freestyle day, I moved it forward a bit to be a little bit more centered.
Yeah.
And it was super easy to do because you just undo 4 bolts and you can slide it around with the slider or with the channel.
Sure.
It was good.
So really I ask you just a couple questions?
Oh, I would love that.
Awesome. So what's your for style, like Burton rider of all time, like which would be your most like inspirational rider for you?
It's such an easy one.
Yeah.
Because it's Craig.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's not just his style of riding.
Right.
It was so unique with the arms, the way that he moved, the way his knees were together, but also the way he carried himself as a person in the world. Right.
Yeah.
Like
when you watch like Let It Ride and you see he was like wise beyond his years, like just like snow. It's more than just snowboarding that video. It's like life.
Right.
What I mean?
He was a leader. That was the thing. He led the snowboarding culture.
Yeah.
Even though I remember 95, 96, 97 kind of like being like brainwashed that we need the new thing, the next stuff, because you want new boots, you want the new bindings, you want the new. Yeah. And I hadn't been burned by, like baseless bindings yet, or like stumpy boots, or like something that you're like, oh, this is what I want is a no back and a stumpy boot that's on a baseless binding or something. So I would say Craig, but I do have a kind of cheat of an answer for the rest too, which is every single time I look at footage from any Burton rider. Like when I go and I look at their part in a movie, I'm blown away by the fact that Burton was able to choose, like never had a dud. There's not one person that doesn't have that magic special thing, like seeing Mikey Cicerelli today.
Yeah.
There's something that Burton selects for that you need a really, seasoned eye to select for that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of anyone I saw some Victoria footage the other day, and I was like, I knew I liked her style.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe there was some marketing behind it that I was like, well, she's pretty, so
yeah.
No, she rips. Yeah. Rips. Yeah.
Yeah. I emailed with her recently, and
Sick,
she's
me
kind of
too.
off the grid,
Yes.
and I was like, is there anything we can send you? And she was like, well, I have a split board, but I could use some split bindings. So we sent her some
Wow.
bindings. So that felt good to reconnect a little bit with her.
That feels good just to hear that story. Yeah. Because she is off the grid.
Yeah.
I usually reach out to her at least once a year to be like, hey, will you do this show?
Yeah.
I'd love to have you on season 10.
Yeah.
That's 10 years in a row of asking. But she politely declines. She's not in the limelight anymore, for sure. No. But when you see her footage, wow. But then the same could be said for Shannon.
Yeah.
I always loved Rippy at Terrier. Jeez, so brushy weight, just brushy, that style. That style.
He brought the personality, the whole look.
And he went
him and
huge.
Trevor Graves shots and stuff.
And then Trevor Andrew, just the way he carried himself, the way he rode.
Yeah.
I mean, you see when I think of UC's that era of Burton and going so huge.
All the butters he used to do.
Unbelievable.
So good.
Yeah. How about you? Do you have a short?
Oh boy, it's hard to pick just one, but my favorite of all time was always Terrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Just blasting.
Yeah.
Nice dude too.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that if you haven't ridden with him, you don't see him on the hill being
he took time for me at Baker, and he after his run down the LBS course, I got to do a run with him, and that was special,
so sick.
Yeah.
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 All time. People forget, I think there was an article on Terrier out of a publication from Norway, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And it was translated into English, and I read it, and it really put his whole career in perspective. And I think there was a disconnect at the end of his Burton career of all the good that he'd done. That
done so much good
to put into perspective, why there was such an outcry from the community, and that article is really, really good. I'll put a link to it in the show.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out.
It's really, I reached out to the guy who wrote it because he obviously spent time with Terrier and put a lot of time and effort into the thing. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have been able to have the journalistic integrity to put that story together.
Yeah.
And it's something that still needs to be told, I think. For sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, that sword board, worlds came together to make something so special.
I recently heard that for the collectors out there, I heard from a collector that, of course, there was the sample production graphic that had Terrier's name written on it. And I've heard there's even fewer of them with the R reversed.
Oh.
So I guess there's R reversed one, and then the regular Terrier written one, and then the non-name Terrier. So 3 swords are out there.
I had no idea
I didn't
about
know that until recently.
R backwards.
Yeah.
I can see it with the R backwards, but there was one with the R forward.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you said a couple of questions. What else you got for me?
Well, it could be any company. What's your favorite snowboard video of all time?
That one for me is easy too, because it's Snowboarders in Exile. And it's, I wore it out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be that.
Yeah.
And it was at a time in my life where I felt that I could still be that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
seeing Steve Graham tuck a double backflip.
Is that where he says I should have zigged where I zagged or something like that?
That's critical condition.
Oh.
That's
Into the tree.
yeah, he hits a tree in that. But it's fall line films. It's the same.
Yeah. They were really ahead of.
Yes.
I loved one of my favorite movies is Getting Some.
Okay, yeah.
But no, continue what you're saying.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so for me, it's the full package, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm a young kid. I'm watching this movie. The local shop owner, Joel St. Marseille, brought it back from a San Diego trade show. He's like, "You're not even going to believe this," and I didn't. Like, because before that, any snowboarding I'd seen was, I mean, Dayglow and almost bordering on silly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, here are these guys that are traveling all around the world, and they are wreaking havoc. They're definitely doing some, you know, like stealing Bert Lamar's car in France and whatnot. But they're also like just blasting. And Damien stood out to me as like, okay, going the biggest seems to be the absolute best thing you could do.
Yeah.
Like that's what, if I'm going to do anything in snowboarding, it's going to be trying to go the biggest and then getting upside down and backflipping.
Yeah.
So it was pre-community for me because the snowboard community in Sudbury, Ontario was 5 of us or 10 of us. If you count skiers, it was like 11 or something. So it was before coming out west and realizing, there's an etiquette to things, and backflips went off the grid for a while. Like you can't do them. And by that time it was like, late shifty 180s and stuff like that, which was sick.
Yeah.
And I could still kind of keep up, but then it very quickly got into inverted big spins and things that, so I'll always, when I see, the Snowboard in Exile soundtrack as well, was like a lot of different genres, but like punk and like just tons of epic music that set my taste.
Yeah, it really opened, snowboard videos really opened like new music to me as a kid.
Yeah. What do you got what's your favorite video?
Well, the first one I saw was Scream of Consciousness.
Yep.
But I have to say my favorite video of all time is The Garden.
The Gardens. Oh, that's a real good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Just like Gooch, Terrier, Downing was in it, Ryan Williams for like Burton Riders, Jamie Lynn,
Jamie's
the Heart of
in
Gold by Neil Young.
Unbelievable, right?
Baker.
Yeah. So good. Also, you know what? So after Snowboarders in Exile, and I say this on the show quite frequently, actually, I got a Burton ketchup and mustard.
Nice.
It had a demo stamp in it.
Oh, so was it white in like red?
No, it was classic black.
Okay.
It had the black, not the white. Demo stamped in it, and so I took my handwritten receipt, sent it to Burton.
Yeah.
Because they were advertising by Craig Kelly, Get Bored with the World. And so they were kind.
Yeah.
And they called me and said, that's not what we meant. We didn't mean any Craig Kelly. We meant like this year's Craig Kelly.
Sure.
And I'd sent them my original receipt. That's the funny thing. They're like, so they sent back the original receipt to me and with a copy of it, which I was like, as if. So that became my favorite movie after Snowboarders in Exile. And then, so I shaved my head like Craig, got the Oakleys, the whole thing, wore the same coat, the whole, everything, all of it. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Totally. And so that was also, I've gone back and watched both those movies, and Bored with the World's a little more watchable because it's a little faster paced.
Yeah.
Snowboarders in Exile is long.
Yeah.
It might be an hour and a half long or something.
It's crazy how long some of the early videos are.
Yeah. But that's a fun one. You got any more questions?
I got one more.
I love it. I love this.
So if you had to pick your favorite Burton graphic of all, a snowboard graphic, what would that be for you?
I bought the Mike Perillo shirt.
Yes.
Of that Perillo.
The custom.
Yeah, the custom.
Yep. 98, I believe. Or 99.
99
I
custom.
think 99.
So I do have a real emotional tie to that because
Sure.
I got a lot of compliments on the shirt.
Yeah.
And I talked to Perillo when I ordered it because you order it right from him.
Yep.
Do that right now. Go to MikePerillo.com or whatever it is and buy one of those shirts. They're super sick. Support that dude. But the brushy trout base.
Yeah.
It means
punk.
so much.
Yeah.
It's the hard, the hungry, and the homeless.
Yeah.
It's the changing of the guard. It's like it's cut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like everything is changing, and we're rebellious, and we're hitting everything at the resort. And skiers hate us, and we're absolutely nothing like skiing at that time.
Absolutely right.
Like it was a real. The brushy trout brings out that feeling for me of that emotional connection to snowboarding being like, look, we're never gonna be mainstream.
No.
That's how it felt. It just felt like there's no possible way.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get this. No. There's not gonna be moms and dads and grandpas and kids riding these boards. It's always gonna be us teenagers. And then as I grew up, snowboarding also grew up. That's what's interesting about you being tied to the that you're born in 77.
Yeah.
The same as Burton.
Company.
It's going to be neat for you to turn 50 and be so involved with Burton turning 50.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a cool connection there.
Yeah, I feel lucky. I'm really excited about the 50-year anniversary.
I want to hear what's your favorite Burton graphic.
It's so hard to pick between... Well, same with you. I'd say the brushy trout 93. Mm-hmm. But I also like the Mickey Albin, by Gons.
The Gons one. Someone had one at the show tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw one at the Salvation Army by my house.
No way.
For $20 like 3 years ago. I know I should have just bought it. But I was like, I don't buy boards that I'm not gonna ride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were saying, the dude that had it.
Yeah, he had the sample graphic.
Tonight.
Shit. So that was a little misty. Yeah. Like the shmoo, the ghost on the tail.
Yeah.
It's just a little different. There's like two versions. The production.
I love that you know all this stuff. It's so much stuff to hold in your head. Do people reach out to you to be like, is this board legit? Is this a real Burton?
And it's hard like when like they're like, I have a BB1, and there's no, like there was no serial numbers on those. And, so like it looks real,
There were some counterfeit. It's not even counterfeit. There was like there was a bit of a problem with one of the dudes who had actually built BB1s for Jake.
Yeah. Was
building brand new BB1s and
I heard that. Yeah.
And not even telling people that these are it's not a reissue. He was saying like, look, I built them back in the day and I'm just building more now.
Yeah, yeah.
It is legit. I'm using all the same materials and the same process and all that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was pretty scandalous maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That some because BB1s go for a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about it, is that here are these boards that are kind of glorified snurfers and that weren't probably that practical at the time. There was nowhere to take them. You couldn't go on lifts with them.
Yeah.
There was sort of more, and they were cheap, right?
Yeah.
They were 50,
like
60
sledding
bucks
hills,
or whatever.
golf courses.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've become this kind of pinnacle of collectors.
Yeah.
Where it's like 10 grand or 20 grand or something.
Yeah.
Some have sold for.
I remember like 7 years ago, one going for like 13,000, and stuff.
That's 20,000 Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The BB1, the Burton board one, back hill, the narrow one.
Like the blue.
Yep.
Or
else the wood and one.
Wood. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's some. I remember when we were at the archives. You're like, oh yeah, there's some there. Like there was like a bunch of them that hadn't been finished yet. And I'm like, that's like so much money worth of those things right there.
And we finished, my friend Chip Bleakney and I we finished some, and then we lent them to shops. But we never had an intention of like selling them or something. Although for a chill fundraiser, we did sell one, and a collector still has it today.
That's kind of cool.
But other than that, we didn't sell, they were original boards, and we just like finished them. And,
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Which is again, that gray area because it's, I think what makes something collectible, this is just my opinion. The most collectible stuff will be things like that light blue, the teal crag board.
The crag board.
And the thing that makes it so rare is he wrote it.
Yeah.
And there was only a few of them made, if even more than one.
Right.
Right? In that color especially.
Yeah. The red base.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And it was a defining moment in a defining era of snowboarding.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the most collectible board in my mind.
Yeah.
But then there are some people that are just like, well, the first ones are the most valuable because they're the oldest, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a collector. Like I said, if I see a board that I rode, I'd probably even pay a few $100 to have it, but to ride it again. Yeah, to actually ride it. And like a ketchup mustard Craig.
Yeah.
I would ride it for sure.
Yeah.
Probably drill out the bindings the way that I'd drill out my bindings.
Yeah.
And
you'd go a little wider.
Get a little bit wider and catch like 3 bolts on one and have a bit of a duck stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole pattern in the beginning was just so limiting. It was incredible. It was like you were really a lot of angle on the front foot.
Yeah.
And even if you minused it out as much as you could, you're still 18 or 20 degrees or something on the front foot. And then your back foot was meant to be posy as well.
Which I still ride posy.
Yeah. I do for certain boards.
Ken, you do too?
27 and 0.
27-0 straight across.
27 in 1980.
27 on the front foot. I got that from somewhere, and I keep that. Yeah,
I'm about
kind of as far as you can really go on an EST.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I noticed that actually when I put on the EST, it was 27 was because I put it right at the max, and I was like, oh, that's as far as that goes.
Yeah,
I'm riding 27.
And then it scares me that I'm like, well, am I doing it wrong? If that's as far as it goes. I remember years ago when my son worked at the boardroom, some board companies, they put the cheat sticker on the bottom.
Yeah, the true sticker.
And they put like the weight range was too small, too narrow. It was like 160 to 170 pounds or something. And people were saying to him, I think I'm going to break that board because I'm like 185. And I'm like, dude, no one's going to break. You're not breaking a board.
No,
these days.
Do you remember that machine at Craig's that flexes the board?
Yes.
The infinite ride machine?
Yep.
Like that we bend every board before it goes out to the public. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess your warranty.
You don't get the epoxy crack. When you
right, exactly.
Yeah, you don't hear that shh.
Yep.
Yeah. I bet your warranty rate is way down, like over the years. Would have to be.
I forget the statistic now, but
it's low.
It's
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, geez, it's changed since we were kids.
Yeah, it has.
Like the choices that you have.
Yeah.
When you're
We're
looking.
lucky.
It's incredible. How do you pick what board you're going to ride each year? Like, do you kind of stay with the same board, or do you?
Well, I got a big foot, so it kind of limits me, so I don't have as many choices. So it's like it's good and bad that way. But I always like to try a new board, just a new, like the Sketch Artist. Did you see that one for next year? That my friend Evan Epern created that, and It's a sick carving board. It's nice and wide, and and then I ride the Hometown Hero and the Deep Thinker. And then if I can get on a fish, that it's a good day with the fish.
Yes, that's exactly that's the nice thing about the quiver is that you have different days.
Yeah.
But I get it. I saw Mikkel on his
170.
On his 170, and he rides that in every condition.
He does. Yeah.
But I mean, Mikkel's a very special snowboarder.
Yeah.
The dude's been so good at snowboarding since he was a child.
I still remember him and Freddie Ostabo coming into warranty when I was starting, and they were just tiny kids, and they were like, they just wanted their bindings to be different colors, so switch out the ankle straps to be different colors.
Amazing.
And Chaka was like, just hook these kids up. They're good. They're going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
He was right.
Yeah. I mean, Mikkel's got that thing.
Yeah.
Nico, holy smokes. Actually, Nicholas is one of my favorite riders
I got to ride with him at Baker one time, and I never saw someone have so much pop, like just natural pop on the board. He did just a frontside 180, but he just popped so big. I was like, man.
His style is really loose but tight at the same time. Like it's like, I rode with him one time at Sunshine, and I was like, this is nuts. Yeah. He's got the thing. Yeah. I mean, that's it. All those Burton riders have that thing.
Yeah. And it was Jake, like the team meant everything to Jake, and still do today. We have the rider round tables, and just Jake was a good listener, and that feedback was important.
Yeah, Ken was saying that today, that was really the big difference between, some of the company's founders. And I can't imagine Jake had zero ego, he's probably there's some of his competitiveness in the boards and enough to satisfy, himself as like, look, I invented this Burton thing, it's my company. Yeah. But listening to the riders, that really came from Craig. Like Craig actually said that to him, right? Like said, like, if I'm coming to you, you have to listen.
Exactly. It started with Craig.
There's a chance that it would have just been, a contest between Tom's ego and Jake's ego had that not happened, right? Yeah. Because the two of them were really at each other's throats.
Yeah, which I don't think snowboarding would be where it is today without that, actually. I think it really pushed snowboarding to be where it is today.
At a critical time. Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then the Craig connection, it just was like from reading that, obviously you've read The Darkest White.
Eric Blem did a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah. It's required reading. I think if you're a snowboarder, you need to read that book. Yeah. It's so good.
He spent like a week in archives actually hanging out, and like we still have all the legal documentation in archives, and he dug through that, and so his fact checking and everything, it's just right on.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you guys have the transcripts of the court case.
Yes.
Between Brad Dorfman and Craig Kelly. I think that was who it was. Yeah. We've always referred to it as Tom versus Jake, right? Because it felt like Tom took Jake to court, but really Brad Dorfman. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Brad Dorfman took Craig Kelly to court over some wacky contract that Tom had made up under duress with Craig to be like, you ride for me forever, no matter what company and it wasn't for any amount of money or anything. It was just, there's no incentive for Craig to honor that contract. Right. It really was a weird move. Mm-hmm. But like you say, the Tom versus Jake thing from the very beginning, right? Like, because Tom's a few years behind trade show wise, boards wise, all those things. Mm-hmm. But he instantly like pops out of the woodwork with a big claim saying, oh yeah, 63, I made my first board. Yeah. And I could just imagine that bothering Jake, because Jake is trying his best
Yeah.
to get snowboarding out into the masses.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they like unearthed like the Wickland board. Did you ever hear that story? Vern
love that.
Wickland in 1917 out of Minnesota, but he also rode in like Chicago area, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's like video footage of this guy in like a suit smoking a cigar, like with a stick behind him to turn.
The stick dragging. And they're legitimately turning those boards down to powder.
Yeah.
Like they're snowboarding.
Yeah.
Which is super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when was all of Dimitri's stuff?
Yeah.
Dmitri Milovich
he was
71 or something?
Yeah, right in that era, making great powder boards in Utah.
Yeah, and actually snowboarding.
76.
Oh.
72.
72, that's
Ken
it.
says 72.
Yeah, 72, and then sometime in the early 80s, I think, he goes over to France with his winter stick team and influences Regis Roland in a bubble, who just learns how to snowboard on his own and kind of comes up with snowboarding in his own, like in this bubble.
Yeah.
It's so wild to see like someone without any outside influence, like seeing some guys do it one day.
Right.
And then months later, figuring out how to do it a little bit himself.
Yeah.
And then getting all this heli time and creating that Apocalypse Snow movie.
Yeah.
So that's got to be in there somewhere. Yeah. The thing was, nobody but Tom wanted to say that he invented snowboarding. Right. Everybody else was like, there's other people.
Right.
There's other people.
Exactly.
There's prior, like Sherman Poppin didn't invent snowboarding, but the Snurfer is like a little snowboard.
Yep.
You're standing sideways on it. It's a pow surfer now, we would call it, but it's, and Jake going to his event, that really blew my mind.
The U.S. Open?
That Jake had gone to Sherman Poppins.
Yes. And it's kind of an interesting story, I guess. So Paul Graves was saying, Paul is the gentleman that actually started the U.S. Open, the National Snowboarding Championship in 82. Paul was saying that when Jake came to the Snurfer event, they were like, no way, you can only ride a Snurfer, but Paul fought for Jake to be able to, they created an open division. And so Jake was the only one in that, so he won that.
Yeah.
He won that division.
So the thing that's crazy about that story to me is that I've always assumed that Jake won the open division with a time that would have just destroyed the other division. But he wouldn't have been first, even with the binding. It's crazy. I've seen the timing list.
Right.
And he would have been maybe third or something, which is not bad.
Right.
But like to kick him out of the thing and give him his own category, he kind of gets the glory. He got first place.
He got first place.
And it helped build the momentum of what he was doing. I mean, Donna's told me that it was a kind of get rich quick scheme in the beginning.
Yeah, I heard him say that in a company meeting one time. He explained that as well.
Yeah.
And, but I think he said once he thought about more like what's best for snowboarding and the soul of it more, that's when it started like working and happening for him.
Right. Because those first few years, that's the irony of the BB1 is that he had a really hard time selling it.
Yeah, things were tough. Like, he I think he says like, I went out on the road with like, I don't know, say like 38 boards, but he came home with like 40,
Somebody he nailed them to was like, not happening.
Australia was 6 and came back with 6.
So it wasn't an easy road.
No.
But
and I think that's the thing he said many times is that he was most proud of is his perseverance.
Yeah. And I think it seems pretty obvious over the course of Burton's history, he's falling in love with this sport in so many ways. Like it's exciting to go over to Europe and find a factory that can actually make something that's gonna sell for, and people want it. Now he's like, all right, let's make it better. How do we make it better? And there's 5 years or 6 years before it's like, and then Craig jumps on.
Yeah.
And then
that's when the freestyle starts happening.
Right. And it's just, and also at that time, the boards go from, questionably, they're thick in the middle and they're hard to ride and they're not 100% there.
Right.
And even the first Burton Air is almost there, but really that ketchup and mustard mystery air just ushers in like a new thing for everybody, for everyone. Yeah. Like so many companies copied that board. Yeah. So many. Yeah. And Craig's like geometry on it is actually genius. It's good. Yeah. Still rides good now. If you have small feet.
That's right. I can't ride it.
Yeah. And it didn't work for a lot of people because of that, right? But again, that meant that, boots got smaller and boards got wider, both at the same time, it ushered in like a real technical, era. And I'm looking at Ken's boots in the reflection there and I'm thinking, that's 1990. Yeah. And the board that he brought tonight to the vintage show was a 1987, I think. 86. And it was about as close to that Craig board. It was ahead. It was like a few years ahead of that. Yeah. So it was like 6 years ahead of its time. Mm-hmm. Twin tip. Yeah. The whole Barfoot team gets to ride these twin tips for a year. And then they have to go back to riding directional boards because it was just too ahead of its time. Yeah. That's where Ken jumped ship. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty interesting history, man.
It really is.
I love that you live in it every day. Like that's so sick and so inspiring. And you're such a good advocate for the history of snowboarding.
Thank you.
It really makes me feel good that there is an effort to keep that history somewhere safe. Yeah. And it's in a huge warehouse. Yeah. Under lock and key, under your watchful eye. Yeah. Has there ever been anyone that's tried to snake something from the archive? You catch someone.
Well, I remember when they were building the warehouse, like the 3-level facility. I noticed a board was like it got moved and like closer to the door. And so I kind of worried that someone was going to try to take it, but I said something to the building crew and they weren't happy with me. They were like, "You're accusing us." And
oh no.
That was kind of, but,
what board was it?
It was a 2003 7.
Nice.
Other than that, no,
You're not seeing people like stuffing things in their shirt and trying to get it out.
Yeah. I think it's cool. Like people at work, there's a real respect for archives.
Of course.
Like they know that was Jake's baby, and so it's important when I loan stuff out, they're like make sure it gets back.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, actually, I can't even believe I have them, but I've got Mike Jacoby's yellow pants.
No way.
And the red with the white striped jacket.
Yeah.
With the modifications on the cuffs that his mom did because his arms are pretty big.
Oh, wow.
And because I told him, look, Ross Rebliati has Craig's yellow pants.
Oh.
And I was like, dude, let's do a Brotherhood of the Traveling Pants.
Yeah.
Riding Craig's pants and then pass them on to the next guy and ride them around the world, right? Like these old yellow pants that really changed everything for everybody.
Yeah, the yellow pants were a thing in Chill.
Yes.
1990.
Yep, and then they were still a thing in the Board with the World video, which is 91, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like it was 2 years. Mm-hmm. They were so iconic. Well, there was some look pants before that had the look patches? World knee patches, and Craig rode those too. Yeah. So Craig was in yellow pants for a while there.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. I mean, they have them. They have them for sure.
Yeah.
But I've got those pieces at my place, and I'm like, I need to get those back to Mike. I just don't want him to.
He calls me like once a year.
I love this.
It's awesome. He checks in and lets me know what he's doing and stuff. Nice guy.
He's a sweetheart. Yeah, just saw him at the LBS.
Oh, sick.
And I mean, he rides well, and he's just such a huge part of the history.
Yeah.
He was the first Burton rider that I rode the chairlift with.
Really?
Yeah. I rode the chairlift with him in 1991, I think, at Mount Hood. And he had the jester hat still. Like, it was like, okay, maybe he didn't.
Yeah.
But he was really nice, and he had the time,
that's cool.
Yeah. And really, really good guy. We have such a great community.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really great community. A terrible loss this week with the passing of Jeff Keenan.
It's horrible.
And Brendan was on Burton for a few years at least.
Yeah.
Brendan's posts have been just heartbreaking. It's a real tragedy.
I feel so bad for their families and friends.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to them.
Yeah, there have been a lot of gatherings this week that have been really heavy. And I mean, over the years, you've had to deal with that with a lot of, there's a lot of loss in the professional snowboarding arena. Yeah. And I mean, it's just a dangerous place.
Yeah.
And that's why they talk about risk mitigation as opposed to like avalanche safety awareness or something. It's like you're always mitigating that risk. So, yeah, I mean, losing Craig was impactful for me in 2003. Yeah, it would have been huge for you for sure. But I mean, this one hits closer to home. Yeah. He was a part of, the community where I live, and his wife and his kid are here. So much, love and respect going out to all the families of anyone that's lost a snowboarder. Geez. Yeah. So it's nuts. Yeah, that was kind of the feeling this week. But bring it back to like being stoked that you're out here. Yeah, that was hearing that you were coming out. I was like, I need to at least see him. Yeah, I'm so glad we could connect. Yeah, it was really, really, really nice to connect with you. And you got one more day of riding. Yeah. Tomorrow's showcase showdown. That's a big one. Yeah, mini pipe. Oh, that's where they're gonna. So they're gonna do the contest in there. They'll cut the pipe for tomorrow. Yeah. Holy smokes. Yeah. It was a moment for me coming up the road, thinking of all the tricks I was gonna do in the pipe. Yeah. I was like, oh man, I love half pipe. It's so much fun. And then I saw it. Yeah. And I was like, that's not that many. No, that's a full size pipe from when we were kids. Exactly. 14 foot. It feels like. Yeah. Maybe it's 12. I don't know. It's definitely not 8. No. I was imagining 8. Yeah. And also, even if there was an 8-foot pipe, I don't think I would be that good. Yeah, it's looks tough. I hope resorts could, get back to a little bit of the mini pipes for people, because like no one that I know really has been riding pipe that much anymore. Yeah. So I don't know. They don't make them. No. If there's a 22 footer at where you're riding, you're probably. Not, if you're like me, you're not going in it. No, it's pretty intimidating. Yeah. I could definitely get to where I'm riding a 14-foot pipe for sure. Definitely. Yeah. It looks so fun. Yeah. And tomorrow's going to be incredible. It's going to be good. Right on. Yeah. Right on. Well, hopefully I talked to you before your 50th. Oh yeah, we will keep in touch. Yeah. Always keep in touch and keep me appraised of what's going to be happening with the archive tour or whatever you're doing, because we'll shout it out on the show and make sure that we get people out to that. Sounds great. People love that. It's awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for everything you do, man. Oh, dude, thank you. Right on. Let's do one of those. Right on, buddy. Thanks, Todd. All right, thank you. Peace. FNRad shout outs to Todd Kohlman. Thanks for doing the show, man. Special thanks to Ken Ock and his Pro Standard GoPro mount. I have one up for grabs. If you follow and tag FNRad and the Pro Standard on Instagram in any comment about wanting a Pro Standard mount, I'll send one out this week. If there's more than one of you, I'll pick a winner and just ship it to you. Thanks, Patreon supporters. You guys are the lifeblood of the show. Shit's about to get fun. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of FNRad Snowboarding, presented by Flojoy Water and brought to you by FNRad Productions. Pro Standard makes the grill mount the best mount for your Insta360 GoPro or DJI camera. It's a heat-moldable mouth mount, tripod, hand grip, hook mount, bottle mount, wall mount, clamp mount, glove mount, and shoe mount, designed by snowboard legend Ken Ockenbach to get you the perfect angle for snowboarding, surfing, biking, and it'll replace 90% of your other mounts. Use code FNRAD to get 20 off your first order at prostandard.com.